Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to AR and AR. I'm Adam Rose, and today I'm going to take you on a little treat, and that is, I'm going to take you on a race. I'm trying to show you that it's pretty easy to turn up to one of these events, go out and challenge yourself, show you the details, like what do you do when you turn up at an adventure race? What are the logistics? How do I get things organized? You don't want to turn up at a race and look like you're completely a fish out of water. So you can challenge yourself, of course. So the race we're doing today is a 6-hour race, not very, very long, but you can take it easy and just go out and get a few checkpoints on the mountain biking, the kayaking, the running, or you can go and really push yourself hard, as some of the teams will be doing today, to try and clear the entire course. We're in the town of Pershaw. We've just left the town of Pershaw. We're in the Midlands of the UK, kind of near Worcester, if you know where Worcester is. And the race is being put on by one of the pretty popular names in the UK, which is Questars. So, welcome. Let's go and see what it's like. Let's go, let's go, let's go. As you can see, we've got a bike transition area over there. Yeah, we get the bikes ready. Nobody else has arrived yet because we're really early. That's all good. We're going to get prime position so we can get in and out of the transition. Our bikes are at the far end of the field. I've got somebody here with me. That's Noah. He's my teammate, and we're going to be doing this race together. He's never done a race like this before, so it's going to be quite an interesting experience for him to see. Maybe by the end, is it going to work for him? Does he like it? It's a one-time experience. We'll see. In terms of our bikes, we've just got 2 hardtails. I've got my map board already attached, so I can attach the map there. For that, when we get on the biking stage, and I've got a little bento boxy thing here, whatever you want to call this thing, so I can put some food in there. That's going to make it really easy for me to get snacks and stuff while I'm on the move. But otherwise, all good. I'm just going to go get my transition box, into which we put all the gear that we can have, just like you do in a triathlon, right? We're going to leave a box right here, a big plastic solid thing, robust thing. I can even use it as a seat when I'm changing my shoes or doing something like that. Anyway, the transition box is essential. You want to have all your kits, all your spares, extra clothing, extra food, extra water, bike tools, anything you don't expect to have out on the course, but you want to have it available just in case you need it during the race. Something breaks, something goes wrong. So that's all my preparation done. I've got my backpack, and I've got my water in my backpack and all that kind of stuff. So that's ready to go. I could probably just leave it here and then go into the hall, get my registration, get that done, get the maps, listen to the race briefing, which is what we're going to go and do, and then the race will kick off pretty soon. You might think that you don't have a mountain bike, so you can't do this kind of racing, but as we've got right here, you can hire a bike. So the fact that you might not own a mountain bike or a mountain bike that's appropriate, or maybe you've only got a road bike, is not necessarily an obstacle either. Most races will have something set up so you can hire them, and usually you'd book it ahead of time, maybe pay ahead of time. I'm not sure, I've never hired a bike, but these are the facilities you can get at a race. They want you to race, they want to make it easy for you, so they'll provide everything if you really need. Obviously we're going to see that with the kayaks and the paddles and all that other stuff as well, but don't let the fact that you don't have an incredible bike put you off taking part. Yeah. We need to know a number, right? Okay, so let's go find that out. Okay, so where are we? 713, 714.
Just up on the list there. That's it.
713 and 714, please.
There we go. So now you collect your debits.
Right. Can I have your numbers?
713 and 714.
Thank you.
This is where they stick all the details in the system so they know who we are and can give us the tracker, and the tracker's linked to us. Very simple. You don't have to provide anything.
And can you confirm your team name?
War 24.
That's it. Lovely. Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Okay, that's the thing you want to put on your wrist.
Who's wearing it?
Noah's gonna put on his wrist. So this little thing here, that's what we're gonna use to dibble the controls. So every control point's gonna have one of those, like a little box, and he puts it in the box, and that proves that he's visited the control, and at the end it summarizes all the times, all the points, and you can get your results just after you cross the finishing line. Okay, now the important bit happens, and that is we've got to go and plan our course. We've got our race numbers. These are going to go in our packs. These are the ones on the bike actually. And they've given us zip ties to attach them to the bike, so the bike's got a number, you easily recognize who we are. And then this will go on the pack so that they know as we go in and out of transition, they can just identify who's coming and gone. And then we've got our maps. Okay, so what we've gone for is 2 copies of the map, and that's a good idea. If you're going to be racing with somebody else, if you both have a map, you're going to get more accurate navigation. It's going to be better navigation, because if I make any mistakes, Noah's going to hopefully pick up on the mistakes I make. So always go for maps for all team members who are able to navigate, surely. But that's going to make it much easier. So we're going to plan the route on one of these maps. Once you've got it set it up on that map, we'll transfer the details across to the second map. On these maps, it's fairly straightforward. They've got checkpoints in this case in blue and red, and those are for different disciplines. So the blue is for the biking checkpoints, the red is for the running checkpoints. They've got emergency numbers up at the top here so that you can contact anybody in an emergency. There might be checkpoints that have certain rules, and we've also got a kayaking stage. So over here we've got the kayak checkpoints that we need to follow, and then on the map, the triangle usually indicates the race base and or transition. So that's where we are now. And we've got kayak leg, and then we've got quite a big area that we can cover in terms of how many of the bike checkpoints we want to go for and how many running checkpoints. Now, in theory, we'd want to get every single checkpoint. But usually in these races, it's not actually feasible within the time limit, and that's good, because that way you have to strategize. You can't just say, I'm going to get all of them, because there isn't enough time. And that'll make your life a lot easier, in fact, because if you've never done an adventure race before, you don't have to feel, well, I'm not fit enough to get all the checkpoints. Ultimately, as long as you get one biking checkpoint, one kayaking checkpoint, one running checkpoint, you're still going to be in the rankings. So we're just going to sit down now with a highlighter and then trace the route. You don't have to do that, but it'll make it much easier when we're on the move, because we don't have to think as much about what our intended route is. The one thing about Questars races, though, is they include dummy checkpoints. So we're going to do our planning now, and when we cross the start line, they will give us the control sheet, which is going to give us the point allocation for all of these checkpoints. They're not all the same value. Some have a high value, some have a low value. And obviously you want to get the high value points. And so even once we cross that start line, we might say, well, actually the course we designed isn't going to get us the best points value for our level of fitness. So we might decide to alter our strategy based on the point allocation. But also the fact that some of these checkpoints are dummies means we will have to re-strategize as soon as we cross the start line. So the clock will be ticking. It's always good when they include that kind of thing, because the thing about adventure racing, you've got to use your brain. It's not just following a course blindly the way people like to do on, trail runs and all that kind of stuff. Here you've got to use your brain, and that's one of the appeals of adventure racing, using your brain to outwit somebody else. On these sorts of races, usually or quite often, the race base, the race headquarters where we are now, tends to be the place where all the transitions happen. So you go out on the kayak, come back here. You go out on the run, you come back here. You go out on the bike, you come back here. Sometimes it'll be that you go out to a point and then do the kayak. So you might run out to the kayak, do the kayak, and then continue on the run wherever you are out running around the hills before returning back to wherever the bike is. So it depends on the nature of the race. Other thing to know is these maps usually have the legend on them. So in this case, we can see all the different kinds of paths, bridleways, restricted byways. So if you're not familiar with maps, obviously you're looking at these different types of trail, and then you're looking on the map itself and identifying where it's legal to bike, where it's obviously you can run pretty much everywhere. But you don't want to be found biking on a restricted road that is only allowed for foot traffic. That'll get you disqualified, right? If you've never looked at a map before, it's not a big deal. All the instructions are on the map. You can identify everything. Just hopefully before you turn up at a race, you've had a look at a map before, just so you have some idea of what it is to try and interpret the contours and the features and all those kind of things. You could, in all essence, turn up at a race like this without any prior experience of map reading, and just by identifying features and getting used to it, go and get lost. That's not the worst thing that can happen, and eventually make your way back to the start. So you don't have to be an expert map reader, you don't have to be expert with map and compass to get to grips with this kind of stuff. I've sketched out the route in 2 different colors so we can easily identify, the yellow is the run in this case. I've got this red marker pen for the bike, so again it makes it easier to identify which route is which.
You've raced with us before. hopefully the information on the website. If you're coming at it from the north, you'll find it north.
You guys on a team of 4?
Going to the.
Cool, cool, cool.
Are you solo?
Huh?
Are you solo?
No, with one of my sons.
Oh, no.
It's his first time, so.
Oh, that's my thing,
Woo. Really? Okay.
We don't want anyone to.
Well, get lost and have fun and come back and go, ah! We should do it all again. Eh? If you turn up for the race and you don't have all the kit, like maybe you forgot some food or you need bits and pieces, usually at these races they have a table with a whole lot of stuff you can buy. They've got map boards if you need to buy a map board. They've got t-shirts and buff. They've got tire levers for the bike, and bottles and gels and all sorts of stuff. So for those last minute kind of emergency bits and pieces, you're sorted. And we're just going to go back to the bike, attach the race numbers, and then we want to start at the earliest start time. As you can see, they got water, so ideally you bring your own water with you because you don't want to depend on anybody else for water. But hey, you know, when you come back from a discipline, you can just resupply the water and off you go. So I'm not carrying 10 liters of water. I'm only carrying enough for a single stage, and then I'll resupply a transition. And that's fairly typical of most adventure races. When you get into a transition point, they would usually have some water there so you can replenish your supplies. And then you could also stop at a local shop and buy some if you're out in a town or something. So we've got the bikes prepped, we've got the maps prepped. All we've got to do is sit around for the next 10-15 minutes and be on that start line, and that's it. Stuck the watch on adventure racing mode because Garmin has adventure racing mode. It's Siberia. Okay, hello. We have our dipping.
This is Noah's first race.
Yes.
Okay. And your team number?
714. 713, 714. There we go.
Excellent. 6 hours. Started now.
Wait.
Go on, Adam, go on now.
Cheers, man. Cheers. There we go. 6 hours of getting lost. Well, actually, we won't. Of course not. Never once ever in my life have I ever got lost. We're off to the kayak stage, and just down here. Well, usually most races provide kayaks and the paddles and the buoyancy aids. So we'll get there, get the kit on, and in this particular race we have a 75-minute window to get all the CPs we can on the kayak, but only 60 minutes to do it in. So depends on the race what your timings are like. Hello. 713, 714. I'm taking off my backpack because whenever you paddle, you don't want to wear your backpack. Just unnecessary strain on your back. And hold your hands, don't let go, don't look. There we go. Good. Okay. If you've never paddled one of these sit-on-top boats before, you cannot capsize them. Well, put it this way, you'd have to try very, very hard to capsize something like this. So you can jump in it, never having tried before, grab a paddle, vaguely steer yourself in the right direction, and have a lot of fun. True story. That's why they use these boats, because they're so versatile, so simple, very hard for anything to go wrong. So don't worry about capsizing or anything of that nature. We've got 4 of the checkpoints along here. We haven't gone for the 5th one because the point value is too low. Whereas there's a checkpoint on the other side of the transition on the kayak that we haven't got yet, which is worth double the points. So you've got to choose wisely and not just try and get everything. That's a very common problem. People try and get all the checkpoints, then they run short of time, and then things go horribly wrong. Be wise in this kind of race. We've just had a look at the control point now that we finished the kayak. So we can see that a couple of bike points are dummies, and on the running side, one checkpoint's a dummy. So it doesn't really affect our strategy because minor alterations. So we're all good. Just because the race is short doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. Up ahead, got one of the best racers in the UK, former world champion Nick Gracie, and Tom Davies, also pretty darn good. So obviously we're chasing them because we want to beat them. Ha 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 ha. Field boundary south side. My happy place, my happy place. Yes, yes. One of the most important rules you can learn in adventure racing is don't follow other people. And we almost did. But we caught it, we nipped it in the bud, and we were on the track that we intended. It is almost fatal to assume other people know where they're going if you're uncertain. Yeah, walking. Don't be afraid to walk. Nobody said you have to run the whole thing, unless you're a spring chicken, and I'm not a spring chicken. Walk, save some energy, look at the map. Tip number 560, put your thumb exactly where you are on the map, and as you move, inch your thumb forwards. And that way when you glance at the map, you always know where you are. Don't just put it anywhere, use your thumb as a position locator. You kind of just want to be adapting as you go, because based on how much time you got left, how fit you're feeling, how fast you're feeling, you don't want to just commit to something and just stick to it, because unless you're clearing the whole course, there's not much point. Here we go. Excellent. Nicely done. Yeah, super.
Beautiful.
Been in the mood for 2.5 hours in total. Half an hour to get back, and then 3 hours left for the bike. That's our goal anyway. We're getting back into transition. We've done 2 hours 25 on foot since the kayak stage. Here's a quick tip: when you get into transition, treat it like a triathlon. Don't think of it as a break. Don't think of it as a time to sit down. You want to get in and get out as fast as possible. Obviously get water and all that other stuff, but don't treat it like a break. There's no time for a break, that's at the end. You don't have to have a map board when you do a race like this, but it helps. Good. Hey, hi. Okay. We're not going to go up there and come down. In adventure racing, you're likely to do what I'm doing right now, which is taking your bike for a walk, also known as hike a bike. So don't worry about not being fit enough to pedal up a hill. Just push your bike up a hill, there's no shame. Everybody does it. Trust me. You might not have done much in the way of mountain biking. Don't worry about technical skills. This isn't downhill. If you need, you can get off and walk. Like seriously, there is no big deal. So if you can walk, you can handle a mountain bike. Yeah, that one. Woo, you heard it. 3 seconds under the wire. That's all right. That's all right. Well done. Well done. There's us finished. 5 hours, 59 minutes and 57 seconds. We don't know how we're done. We're going to go to the race HQ and drop our dibber, well, punch our dibber, and find out what the results are. But a good day out. A good day out. We hit 6 hours exactly, or 1 second over. That's perfect timing. I've never got a perfect on the money. They end up with a printout like this because everything's calculated electronically, and the score, and obviously once everybody's crossed the line, you'll know your placings. So you usually find out your final positions the same day, when you get home, because they post them online. Good to feed you afterwards. So there you go. There was an adventure race. As you can see, it's not that difficult to do. It's not that hard to get started, and I think you should give it a go. I hope this video is useful. Okay, see you on the next one.